guys, it's great to see you again. I'm Miss Joli and I'll be your visual artist for this lesson. Today we're going to talk about cave paintings found on Earth. And we're going to also create our own artwork about cave paintings and symbols. The materials we're going to use for today: a sheet of paper, pencil, eraser, a box of crayons, neutral colors, browns, blacks, whites, and earth tones. Do you remember where on the globe is France? Looking at the world map, France is found in Europe. Here are a few pictures of caves from the outside. Done by ancient Paleolithic people of the region and rediscovered around World War II. The caves of Lascaux were actually discovered in September 12th of 1940. The Great Hall of the Bulls has over 2,000 painted images. Journey to the caves of Dargon and the Lascaux caves are more than just images of animals. They are actually prayers that the earth may preserve life. And if you notice in a lot of the pictures, the animals are quite fat, so they are with calves. Uncontrolled tourism, bacteria on shoes, and breathing cause fungus to grow atop images, nearly destroying Lascaux until the French government closed the site. Colors consistent with the cave paintings are mostly natural minerals, and the pigments used included red and yellow ochre, hematite, magnesium oxide, which is kind of like a greenish kind of color, and charcoal. Different shades of earth tones can be used normally, like browns and reds and dark yellow and black. Sometimes you can try for a grayish blue, or even somehow green pigments can work nicely too as well. Prehistoric art tells us about the early life of the nomadic hunters and gatherers. Prehistoric is everything before literacy developed. If there is no written record, then what do we get our knowledge of the first people? These first people used stories on stone or rock art, cave art. They both painted, and carvings were found on the walls and ceilings as well. Most of the art was done on the walls and stone, but we're going to be using paper. So we're going to kind of tear it like an animal hide. We can sometimes when we're working with projects, we can use coffee or tea stains to add a discolored effect, but we're going to be just using our own paper and crayons. And we can wrinkle and crinkle the paper. Sometimes artists will kind of burn some of the areas to make it look old, or watered down paint to use for discolorings. A lot of times they talk about pictographs, which is derived from the Latin pictus, which means painting, and graph or gram, meaning drawn or written. It describes an image, sign, or symbols which was created in order to express some idea or information, as shown on these awesome caves. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our sheet of paper. You're going to write your name on your paper. I went ahead and turned mine horizontal. Actually, any way will work. We're going to start it off this way. We'll draw us an artwork on there, and then we're going to add more to it as we go. You're going to be using your pencil. I'm going to go ahead and use a marker so that you can see it. Now you can draw any kind of creature you want. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and come over here and do something like some kind of mouth. The jaw would come up. Let's see, I'm going to do a line for the eye. Let's see, a couple of ears. I am going to be putting, let's see, a throat will come down here and ghost it. There we go. And let's see, this would be, our back would be around here. Okay, let's see, just go ahead and come down. Get some feet. Let's see, a big belly. Let's see, a curve out here. Okay. Let's see, I'll do like little zigzags at the top. Let's see, I'll do it to about here. There we go. That's my little, what do you think my creature is? It's like the horses of the time. Let's see, I'm not going to use my marker anymore. I'm going to just do the rest with crayons. And let's see, the crayons I'm going to pull out are the natural colors, the earth colors, browns, tan. I'll put some orange and some yellow and some red, not that much red, but and I'll have a little white and black. That'll basically be it. It's what I'm going to be using. So if you can see my colors, this is the colors I'm going to be using. Of course, the orange, I like to use orange from time to time, especially when I'm doing those. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use a little brown. I'm going to turn my brown on the side a little bit, and I'm going to, my back of my horse is here, my creature. And I'm going to go ahead, I'll be coloring, I'll be using all kind of colors. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just put some little dashes and all around, because that is going to be the wall of the cave. I like to use all those, and I'm going to be using all, actually with all of these colors, I'll be doing that with all of them. Whatever the mood strikes me, it can have little curves and waves in it somehow, depends on what kind of rock formations that's there. And the orange just kind of makes it look like specks of things that were in the rock. It's been there a while. I usually like to use white and the light color under the belly. So, and sometimes I'll put it on the tail a little bit, but under the belly. And I do that in the very beginning so that you can see it. And the underneath of the leg here, I will add usually a little white, and the one underneath here. Just so that it's, normally you have a pet, your pet turns over on its belly, the underneath is a lighter color. So a lot of times we see that. And remember, these pictures were actually prayers to have the animals come around certain areas. They wanted to be able to have animals to hunt. Sometimes they would portray what they wanted to happen, and it would come about like they would be. that it would happen because they drew it. It was what they would think a lot of times. And I'm going to be using, I'm going to be actually all of these colors. I'm going to put a little black in there. I'm going to come back on my horse and add blacks too. But remember, this is all the cave wall. So see how I just barely add a little bit here and there. Now right here where the mane is, that's the area of the horse, I'm going to go ahead and darken it up a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit, and I'm going to add some tail marks coming out there. I like to do the feet a lot of times with the darker. And sometimes the back of the leg a little darker. So I just see how I just lightly put it, and I just keep adding and adding and adding. So this is where, and this is the back. Sometimes a little bit in the back area here. So I'm going to come back with the brown, and I'll add brown around it. Let's see, I like to put a little bit dark around the nose. The muzzle area of the animal, since it is a horse. And I come back with the brown. I like to add a little orange in there. Sometimes I go with red. I give it a reddish kind of coat to it. Not that much red, just ever so slightly a little. Look, maybe it's a chestnut kind of horse. See how the colors are starting to work together? Yeah. I like to add yellows in there too. And of course I have to add yellow in my walls of my cave, or ceiling of the cave. They had in the ceilings. How do you think they got on the ceiling to do some of them? They fixed themselves so that they could get an area and do those fabulous cave paintings. Now they would use like animal fat a lot of times, mix it with that to put those colors on the wall. And I guess over time too, sometimes the surface kind of changes with the chemicals that are there. So see how it's starting to have coloring in there? I do want more on my walls though, in the dark. I'm going to come back with the browns. I don't necessarily want black, but I do want places where so how's yours coming out? Give you ideas. I'm going to be working on this one some more. But in a minute we're going to be taking off the extra excess. See how I have this horse there as well? So we keep adding the color. And these are geometric edges. We're going to go ahead and tear a little bit of that off in a minute. But I'm going to work on that artwork first. And then I'm going to tear it so that it looks like part of a rock that's there. Just to give you a heads up. But so it doesn't matter what you actually put on the corners. We're going to be getting rid of them. Make it look more organic with the little edges. So here's my browns, and I can do little waves and curves and little pits of rock that's in there. I do want more on my horse. See, I had that black that's there, so I want to go ahead and get my brown to kind of eat up some of that black that's there. Let's see, a little peachy color. That will work as well. And remember, some of these animals were seen with spots. So if you want to put spots on it, you can put spots on it. You know, like a Dalmatian would have spots. Some of these creatures had spots. Remember how I said the underneath the belly is usually the lighter one? That's why I added the white earlier. So I'm adding just a little bit of the peach to kind of give it a little color. I'm going to come back here with dark in a minute. So, are you having fun? Are you getting your artwork on? If you want to put a rhino, I've seen them with rhinos and bulls and all kinds of creatures. Remember, they wanted the animals to be in that area, to be overpopulated so that they could have meat to eat and to be able to hunt. The horses they probably would see from time to time. Those were the prehistoric horses of the day. This is the top leg, so I always put this one a little darker than my underleg. This is an easy project. If you want to put more than one creature, you could put another one. But the thing is, we will be cutting, well, not cutting, we're going to be tearing the edges in a minute. Let's see, I'll put some more streaks of color in the tail. Let's add some. See how they kind of work together to blend themselves in? And I'll put the darker colors on the top, working towards the lighter underneath. It's for our prehistoric animals. You could add another couple of little horses if you like, or if you were doing bulls or cows. I'm showing you my bull, or it could be a cow. And look, here was again one of the other horses. You could have one horse going one way and another one going the other way. Let's go ahead and try to use just the edge of our paper. Just the edge. See how I do just the edge. Now I don't want that flat, that sharp edge. I'm going to go around it. Sometimes if it doesn't work one direction, you can pull it from the other direction. As long as it's not a flat edge, a hard one, I don't mind. That's my scraps. Then I'm going to come back and I'll rub on just the edges of that. It's going to make my edges come out real nice. Just remember, this is on a cave somewhere. There we go. See, we only want just the edges to come out. I really don't want it to go out too straight, so yeah. It takes a little while to get used to. You don't want to cut too much. You don't want to tear off too much. But as long as it's not completely straight. Sometimes you can put your finger in the way so that you'll stop it from going one way. Oh. One side of your paper will tear easier than others. That is how the paper is made. One side will be easier to tear and the other side won't be as easy. There we go. And I will come back to the edges and add more. Let me go ahead and go with more blacks. See how it doesn't matter. I'm not going with anything in particular. I'm making it look like it's a rough surface. And as it gets close to the animal, I don't have to go as dark. Or I can. If I want to highlight that animal. I usually like to use the browns quite a bit. Let's see, here's my browns. See how my paper is starting to look like it may have come from somewhere else, like in a cave? See how it colors? How is yours coming? How's your neighbors? Did y'all do the same kind? Did somebody do a bull? Or a cow? I'll put this in so that you can see it while some people are doing. I will have patterns that I can put for you on the side that you can look at. See how I get little random curves and throughout it, especially on the edges. Like on the top here don't have as much color. Let's add a little yellow, sparks of yellow in there, and orange. See how I'm not doing anything in particular, just a lot of little. See how the animal itself is looking like it was kind of painted on, and then the rest that's the cave itself. I am having so much fun working with you. Did everybody get to tear all their pieces around the edge? See, this is one I didn't get to tear. Remember, you want to take just the edge, like one side is harder than the other. I think the edges here are easier to tear. But these actually come out really nice when they're torn. You know, they have lots of caves in France, and also in Spain they have caves. In fact, Lascaux caves, I think a dog was with his master and it kind of fell into a little crevice area,